Hello my 3D animation and visual effects friends. Today what we're going to do is we're going to jump into a whole bunch of different resources to create a 3D avatar in Unreal. So first things we need to do is we're going to right click, create a new folder, and we're going to name one Unreal 427 and the other one Avatar. Once we've got that set, we're going to jump into the website readyplayer.me, as you can see up here, and we're going to create our avatar. I already created my avatar. It looks pretty slick, kind of like me. Well, for the most part. Once I've got my avatar set, I'm going to go down here to the lower right hand corner and I'm going to download the .glb into my avatar folder. This one I'm going to name RPM Avatar. And once I've got that renamed, make sure it's a GLB file and I'm going to click Save. This should download it into my avatar folder. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over to Blender and I'm going to yeet right out of here these three things that everybody loves to get rid of: the camera, the lights, and the cube. I'm going to go to Import, GTF, GLB, and I'm going to go to that avatar folder and grab my Ready Player Me avatar. This should bring my Ready Player Me avatar with all of its assets right with it, including the armature. And if I take a look at it, you'll see that my armature is included, everything's in there, and it looks pretty good. What I want to do is get rid of that armature. So I'm going to select everything and click A, click on Clear Parent. And what that will do is separate out the armature from the rest of my avatar. I can go up into my collection and then delete that armature so it is gone. Now everything is just kind of in an A-frame pose and ready to go. We can go to File, Export. This time we're going to export it as an FBX. We're going to make sure this goes into our avatar folder one more time. And this one we are going to again name it RPM for Ready Player Me, Avatar. And then over in the path mode, we're going to change the path mode to Copy. And then make sure that we select Embed All Textures. Nothing else really needs to get changed. And then we can hit Export FBX. And if we want to make sure that we can come back to this later on and utilize it again, we can go File, Save As, and then save in that avatar folder. Right on our desktop, go into the avatar folder. We're going to save this as Ready Player Me Avatar. But this one's going to be a blend file. So we have an FBX, a GLB, and now a blend file of a Ready Player Me avatar. Looks pretty good. We can close out of Blender and we're going to go to Mixmo.com and log in there. First time you log into Mixmo, you're going to see a generic T-pose of the bot. What we want to do is upload our own character. So we're going to click on Upload. We're going to go into FBX. We're going to go to our avatar. And we're going to look for our most recent save, which is going to be usually the one on top, depending on how late it is that you do it. And then you open that up. Make sure it's an FBX file. If you upload the .glb by accident, it will tell you. Here's our auto rigger that's built into Mixmo. And now what Mixmo is going to do is it apply its own rig to my character. So we took the rig away from RPM and now we're bringing it into Mixmo to clean it up with the Mixmo avatar. I'm going to apply my chin, my wrist, my elbows, and my knees to my character and try and be as precise as possible. And you have in the upper right hand corner a target to help you out. And then with the groin, I recommend kind of having it a little bit above where the seam comes together, and it looks pretty good. If your avatar isn't symmetric, you can turn off Use Symmetry. And then what we're looking for is a standard skeleton, which has all 65 bones to it. Once it looks good, we click Next, Hyperspeed Forward, and we will see our avatar in our idle pose. Everything looks like it's working. Nothing looks like it's kind of falling off, which is a good start. And we click OK. This will bring our avatar in as an A pose into Mixmo. And what we want to do is we want to grab that A pose right away. And this is going to be our base avatar that we bring into Unreal. So we're going to click Download. We're going to hit FBX. And if you look, there's a whole bunch of different choices, but the baseline FBX will work for us. And then we're going to leave it as a T-pose and download. This time, we're not going to call it RPM avatar. What we're going to call it is Mixmo avatar. So we're going to change the naming a little bit because now this is the avatar coming from Mixmo. And once we've got that, you could see the little bit of a difference and click save. Now we have our A pose of our object. You can see our avatar's skeleton embedded into our avatar itself, which is kind of cool. The first thing we need to do is we need to go up to animations and look for idle. We're looking for the idle animation as a start point for our character in Unreal Engine. So to do that, I can go through and there's a whole bunch of choices of different idles I can use. Mixmo has a wide variety of animations already predisposed for you and set up for you to apply to your character. Once I find the idle pose that I like, and there is a bunch of them, I can select on that idle pose. I can go over to the right and I can play around with the pose a little bit too. There's some basic settings where I can, drag out the arm space so my arm's a little bit farther away from my body. And then I can play around with the cycle itself if I want to, and then push download. In this download, you're going to see all the basic stuff with the format and the skinning. We're just going to click right into download and save that as idle into our avatar folder. Once I've got that, I click save. And now what I want to do is I want to look for a walk cycle. So I'm going to type in walk, and I'm going to see a whole bunch of different walk cycle animations that I can utilize. I'm going to pick this one right here. It's a nice and basic walk cycle. And one of the things I have to do is, because we're putting this into Unreal as part of the third-person game, I need to make sure I have this walk cycle in place. I can play around with the speed of the walk cycle, and I can play around with the character arm space, but I'm not going to do too much to it. I'm just going to click download. And I'm going to save this walk cycle as walking_stationary, because this is going to be a stationary walk cycle. Making sure that I have it clicked for in place, I select download. Next one I need is a run cycle. I'm going to go through and grab the run and the jump. Those are the next two I need. So as you can see here in hyperspeed, I put this in place. I download all the same settings, rename it running stationary, and save that. I'm going to go look for jump. I'm going to grab the basic standing in place jump, go ahead and download that, and name that stationary too. Now that I've got my idle, my walk, my run, and my jump, I'm going to go over to Epic. I'm going to open up my library, and I'm going to launch 4272. Or whatever the latest version is that you want to use. This will take a second for it to open up. Once we get it open, we're going to go into Games and select Games and Next. We're going to go into Third Person Template. You're going to see all the third person information, and we're going to click Next. We're going to save this to our Unreal folder, the Unreal 427 folder we created at the beginning. And we're going to call this one Animation 1. I've done a couple of them, so I'm going to name this one Animation 1A. And I'm going to create the project. This will open up Animation 1 into our third person. As you can see here, we have our objects. We have some menus across the top. If we push play, we can get a preview using the Unreal Engine's avatar and be able to see what that looks like. And all of these motions that you see right now in the game are ones we're going to duplicate with our own avatar. Over on the World Outliner, this is where all of our assets are that we can control in the game space itself. Once we click on one of those pieces, such as the third person character, you can see all the details on it. We have a sequence and then a content browser across the bottom. The sequence we're going to come to later on in a different tutorial. But in the content browser, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new folder, and we're going to name it Avatar. Once we open up Avatar, we're going to create 3 more folders. The first one we're going to create is Materials. We're going to create another one, and we're going to name that one Textures. And you're going to see why very shortly as to why this is important for us to do this. And the last one we're going to do is Animation. For each of these folders, we're going to host a bunch of information in there. And that information we're going to pull in right now. We're going to go to Add Import, the green button, or we can right click and go to Import. And we're going to go and look for that avatar on our desktop in our avatar folder. And the first one we want to grab is not the Ready Player Me one, but the Mixmo avatar. Once we bring that Mixmo avatar in, we're just going to convert the scene unit and then click on import. That's all we need to do. Convert the scene unit and click on import. Once it is imported, you might see some errors depending on the textures you have applied to it. And you're going to see all of your textures and materials that are applied to your avatar. And then you're also going to see your skeletal structure and your mesh for your avatar. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to grab all the different textures, which are the flat images here, and I'm going to drag those into textures and select move here. This will move them into that folder. Then I'm going to grab all the materials and drag those into materials. This cleans up our avatar folder a lot more and keeps everything a lot more organized, which is great. Once I've got that set, I'm going to go into animation. I'm going to go into import game avatar, and I'm going to grab those 4 animations for Mixmo that I downloaded: the idle, the jumping, the running, and the walking. Once I've got those selected, I can go down to open and open those up. Now I'm going to see that FBX import option. This time we don't need the mesh, we've already got it. So we're going to change the mesh, and we're going to change the Mixmo avatar skeleton for the skeleton, and then simply hit import. And repeat this for the next 3. So all 4 of them, we turn off the mesh, apply it to the Mixmo skeleton. You'll see that we get some errors, but there's my 4 animations all brought in. Looking pretty good. If I go back to my avatar, I can see all my information is there. I'm going to go File, Save All,